You are floating in a cage of glass and steel. This is Watchtower Epsilon, your home for the last 3 rotations. It is also your prison. Beyond the viewport lies the enemy, a fleet of perfect silent ships. They form a wall of obsidian daggers in the black. The Star Sea is quiet, too quiet. For 87 days, nothing has happened. The Cathar do not communicate. They do not attack. They simply wait. Their presence is a weight on your soul. It crushes the hope from the station's corridors. You watch their ships. They hang in a flawless lattice formation. Each vessel is an exact distance from its neighbors. No deviation, no error. It is the cold geometry of death, a silent promise of annihilation. This is the weight of a silent star sea. The enemy is known as the Cathar. They are a species built on pure logic. Their every action is calculated. Their every decision is based on flawless data. They see the galaxy as a grand equation, and they are here to solve it. Their strategy is a slow, perfect strangulation. They have cut off your supply lines. They have blocked all communications. They are starving you out. It is efficient. It is cruel. It is undeniably logical. They believe your surrender is a mathematical certainty. You have studied their history, or what little of it you have. There are no Cathar artists, no poets, no musicians. Their entire culture is built on a foundation of pure reason. They cannot comprehend waste. They cannot understand passion or defiance. The Cathar see your resistance as an error, a flaw in the data, a variable to be corrected. They will wait for months, for years if they must. Time is just another number to them. Their patience is as infinite as the void itself. You are in the Grand Council chamber. The air is thick with despair. The leaders of the allied species sit around a holographic table. Their faces are etched with exhaustion and defeat. Before you are the last hopes of this sector, and they are all out of ideas. Admiral Thor, Axe, a towering reptilian warrior, gestures at the star chart. His claws trace the lines of the Cathar blockade. He speaks of flanking maneuvers, of feints and desperate charges. Every plan he suggests ends the same way. The simulation shows your ships turning to dust, total annihilation. Then comes Matron Z, Eel, a being of pure energy. She hums in a low, sorrowful tone. She speaks of diplomacy, of trying to reason with the Cathar. But how do you reason with a calculator? How do you bargain with an algorithm? Her proposal fades into silence. Certain failure. Even the brilliant engineers of the Sinian race have no answer. Their talk of viral attacks and system breaches falls flat. The Cathar network is a closed loop. It is as impenetrable as their ship hulls. Every door is locked. Every path is a dead end. Then, the chamber falls silent. Every set of eyes turns to you. The human, the representative of a young chaotic species. They look at you with a desperate hope, a hope you know you cannot fulfill. They are looking for a miracle. You are not a soldier. You are not a strategist. You are a xenolinguist, a specialist in communication. But your skills are useless here. The Cathar do not speak your language. They do not speak any language you know. They speak only in mathematics and force. The silence stretches. It is heavier than the station's gravity. They see humanity as unpredictable, a wild card. They have heard tales of human ingenuity, of your species pulling victory from the jaws of defeat. They think you have some secret weapon, some hidden trick up your sleeve. You have nothing. Your mind is a blank slate of fear. You look at their expectant faces, the proud Thor, Axe, the wise Z, Eel, the hopeful Signians. You are their last chance, and you are about to fail them. The unspoken human question hangs in the air. What will you do? Your mind races. It searches for an answer. Any answer. It digs through memories, through old lessons and forgotten data. Then, something surfaces. It is not a battle plan. It is not a technical schematic. It is a story. A silly story your grandfather used to tell you. He was a historian. He studied Earth's ancient conflicts. He told you about a time of primitive warfare, a time of castles and sieges. He told you a joke, a ridiculous, nonsensical joke from a forgotten era. It was about a talking dog. The memory is so clear. Your grandfather's smiling face, the sound of his laughter, the sheer absurdity of the punchline. It has no place here, not in this high-tech tomb, not with a logical enemy at the gates. And yet, an idea begins to form. An insane, desperate, beautiful idea. It is a spark of madness in the cold darkness of logic. It is a gamble so wild, it might just work. The Cathar are perfect logicians. They process data. They understand patterns. But what would they do with something that has no logic? No pattern? What would they do with a joke? You stand up. Your legs feel unsteady. Every eye in the council chamber is locked on you. You clear your throat. The words feel alien in your mouth. You tell them you have a plan, a new strategy, a weapon they have never considered. You propose broadcasting a message to the Cathar. A single, simple message. The council leans forward. A flicker of hope returns to their eyes. Then you tell them what the message will be. You tell them the joke. The one about the talking dog who goes for a job interview. Silence. A stunned, disbelieving silence. Admiral Thor, Axe looks at you as if you have lost your mind. His ridges flush a deep, angry crimson. He accuses you of mocking their suffering, of making a mockery of their impending doom. He says you are insane. Matron Z. Eel's light flickers erratically. She calls your idea frivolous, a waste of their final, precious moments. The Cygnians start running frantic calculations. They try to find any logical merit in your proposal. They find none. The council meets your idea with angry disbelief. They are about to dismiss you, to throw you out of the chamber. Your one insane chance is about to evaporate. You are ready for their judgment, for their scorn. But then, a new voice speaks. It is young, it is clear, and it cuts through the anger. It is Lyra, the Cygnian apprentice. She is the youngest one at the table. She has been silent throughout the entire meeting. Now, she looks at you. Her multifaceted eyes hold not anger, but curiosity. She asks you to explain. She says desperation is the mother of strange solutions. You look at her, a single ally in a room full of skeptics. You explain your reasoning. The Cathar mind is a fortress of logic. A direct assault is impossible. But a fortress can be undermined, not with force, but with confusion, with something so illogical it breaks the foundation of their thought process. Lyra listens. She nods slowly. She turns to the council. She tells them that their own logic has failed. Their every plan has led to a dead end. What is the harm in trying something illogical? One broadcast. One last, desperate roll of the dice. Her words hang in the air. An ally in desperation's hour has spoken. The council, weary and defeated, finally agrees. You have one chance? The next few hours are a frantic blur. You and Lyra retreat to the translation labs. Your task seems impossible. How do you translate a joke for a species that has no concept of humor? How do you explain a punchline to a mind that only sees data points? It is like trying to describe color to someone born blind. You start with the basics, the structure of a joke, the setup, the expectation, the subversion of that expectation. Lyra's mind, built for complex equations, struggles with the concept. She keeps trying to find the logical sequence. The why behind the laughter. There is no why. That is the point. You try to translate the words themselves. The talking dog, the bewildered job interviewer. Each word is a mountain to climb. The Cathar language, as far as you understand it, is purely mathematical. It has no room for anthropomorphism, no space for the absurd. You cannot say, a dog walks into an office. It does not compute. You and Lyra work for hours. You build the concept from the ground up. You use analogies based on flawed equations, on paradoxical theorems. You try to create a linguistic packet that mimics the cognitive dissonance of a joke. It is a virus made of words, a piece of code designed to crash a logical mind. The task seems truly impossible, but slowly, piece by painful piece, you build it. You stand in the main communications hub. The air hums with power. The station's chief comms officer looks at you, her face a mask of doubt. She has loaded your creation, the illogical packet, the weaponized joke. She asks if you are sure. You nod. You are not sure of anything, except that doing nothing means certain death. You look at the large screen. It shows the Cathar fleet, still perfect, still silent, an unblinking wall of death. Lyra stands beside you. She gives your arm a reassuring squeeze. The council watches from the observation deck above. The entire station holds its breath, waiting. You give the final command. Send it. The officer flips a switch. A beam of focused information shoots from the station's main antenna. It is invisible. It is silent. Your simple, ridiculous joke flies into the dark. It is a tiny whisper aimed at a silent god. And then, there is nothing. The broadcast has been sent across the void. The minutes stretch into an hour, then 2. The Cathar fleet does not move. It does not respond. Nothing changes. The silence from the enemy is deeper now. It is heavier. It is filled with a new kind of dread. The dread of failure. The fear that you have not just failed, but made things worse. Whispers start to fill the station. Fear turns to anger. The crew members look at you with accusation in their eyes. The human who told a joke to the apocalypse. You have wasted their time. You have played a fool's game while the executioner waited. Admiral Thor. Axe's voice booms over the internal comms. He demands your immediate arrest. You stand frozen in the comms hub. The weight of your decision presses down on you. You have doomed them all. You have taken their last sliver of hope and turned it into a cosmic punchline. The silence is a judgment. It is the sound of your own folly echoing back at you from the void. You wait for the guards to come. Then, Lyra points to the main screen. Her voice is a sharp gasp. Look. You force your eyes open. You look at the Cathar fleet. At first, you see nothing. The formation is still perfect. But then you see it. A flicker. A single ship at the edge of the lattice. It has drifted, only by a few meters, but it is there. An error. The comms officer shouts. Her console is lighting up. She's picking up faint, chaotic energy signatures from the Cathar ships. Not weapons fire, not engine thrust. Something else. Something like static, like noise. Then another ship drifts out of position, and another. The first signs of rising chaos are appearing. The perfect, silent wall is starting to fray. The flawless lattice begins to waver. Ships drift aimlessly. Their movements are no longer precise and calculated. They are erratic, confused. It is like watching a perfect crystal begin to crack from within. The station is silent no more. Gasps of disbelief ripple through the crew. The joke is working. The logical virus is spreading. The Cathar minds, so rigid and orderly, are encountering a paradox they cannot solve. The setup of the joke created an expectation, a logical path. The punchline shattered it. It presented an outcome that was both unexpected and completely illogical. It does not compute. Imagine a perfect calculator being asked to divide by 0. It is not just that it cannot find the answer. The question itself breaks the machine. This is what is happening to the Cathar. Their collective consciousness, their networked intelligence, is caught in a feedback loop of absurdity. They are trying to find the logic in nonsense, and it is tearing them apart. On the screen, the chaos escalates. Ships begin to turn on each other. Not in combat, but in confusion. They bump into one another. Their formations collapse into a tangled mess. It is a cascade of broken logic, a symphony of cognitive failure. The Cathar are not just confused. They are mentally crippled. The fleet, once a symbol of terrifying perfection, is now a swarm of directionless drones. Their precision is gone. Their unity is shattered. They have been undone not by a torpedo or a laser, but by the concept of a talking dog. The absurdity of it all is almost too much to bear. You feel a strange, hysterical laugh bubbling in your chest. Then, the retreat begins. It is not an orderly withdrawal. It is a panicked, chaotic flight. The Cathar ships turn and flee in every direction. They jump to hyperspace without coordinates. They scatter like insects from a disturbed nest. They are running from a ghost, from an idea they cannot comprehend. The great Cathar fleet, the unstoppable force that had conquered a dozen systems, breaks in utter confusion. They do not fire a single shot in their retreat. They simply run. Within an hour, the Star Sea is empty. The siege is over. The silence that returns is not one of dread, but of stunned, miraculous peace. A fleet undone by laughter. The celebration on Watchtower Epsilon is short-lived. The relief is quickly replaced by 1,000 questions. The council summons you again. This time, their faces are not filled with anger or despair. They are filled with awe and a little bit of fear. They demand an explanation. They need to understand what just happened. You stand before them again. You are no longer the desperate linguist. You are the savior of the station. You try to explain. You talk about humor, about laughter, about the human mind's ability to find joy in the unexpected, to embrace the absurd. You explain that it is not a flaw in your thinking, but a feature. You describe the punchline as a cognitive weapon, a concept that targets the very foundation of a logical mind. It is a weapon that requires no energy, no warhead, only a shared context and a surprising twist. Admiral Thor, Axe, looks at you, his warrior's mind struggling to grasp the concept. He asks if all humans possess this power. Matron Ze, Eel hums, her light a steady, thoughtful glow. She sees it now, not as a joke, but as a form of higher thought, a way of thinking outside of rigid systems. She calls it a power of creation and uncreation, a way to build and break realities with words alone. They see human humor as a new kind of power, a force to be respected, and perhaps to be feared. Your story spreads. It travels faster than any ship. The tale of Watchtower Epsilon, the story of the unbreakable Cathar fleet, and the human who defeated them with a story about a dog. It becomes a legend. A cautionary tale for would-be conquerors who rely too heavily on logic. You are no longer just a linguist. You are a hero, the human who ended a war with a joke. Other species send emissaries. They want to study humor. They try to understand it. They try to replicate it. They fail, of course. Humor cannot be manufactured. It cannot be reduced to an equation. It must be felt. The joke itself is never told again. It is too powerful, too dangerous. It becomes known as the empty joke, a weapon that exists only in memory. You have given the galaxy a new concept, the idea that laughter can be stronger than steel. The legend of the empty joke is your legacy, and a reminder that sometimes the most foolish idea is the one that saves everyone.